Welcome back everyone to Stronk Company Fuse 2 replay cast, and this time it's gonna be a 1v1 sent in by glorious fucking JRD, and he's gonna be facing glorious fucking Zhukov. That's an interesting little way to write that name. What is he doing with his engineers? Oh, okay. He could have just built it here. Oh well, whatever. That would have made it a little bit easier for him, but he decides to handicap himself. That's fine. So JRDN gonna be spawning in the south part of the map. It's obviously Langarskaya, as you can see. He's gonna be playing as the OKW. Not really sure why he's leaving that uncapped, but it looks like he's going for the cutoff. Is he? I hope that he's going for the... Wait, why are you... What? I don't understand. You should go for the cutoff, really. I guess he's maybe waiting for the cube wagon to provide fire support for the storm piles, and he thinks, well, I might as well just grab the VP in the meantime. Of course, the problem is Zhukov has the support weapons Campanilla, which means that he could have a Maxima right. He's not going for the cutoff. Oh, he's going for the munitions. That's an interesting choice. Well, there is some heavy cover behind the munitions, so I guess it's a decent capping order. But I would have gone for the cutoff, just to cripple the opponent right off the bat, maybe even have a bit of a defensive position right near the base, and then once you bring out your battle group particulars, you can position it in a pretty advanced position, such as this one, because you've already pushed back the enemy right off the base. But I guess he decided to play a little bit safer, and right now he's going to go with the both Cube Wagon and the Volksgrenadiers. Volksgrenadiers managing to capture some points, and he went for Scavenge Doctrine. So Scavenge Doctrine, of course, fairly useful for the grenades right off the bat at the command point 3. Of course, the Jaeger Light Infantry at command point 2 is also a pretty good pickup, worthwhile indeed if you're having some problems with enemy units at long ranges. Machine gun coming out for Zhukov. He's going to have a second one right off the bat from the support weapons Campanilla. Looks like he's going to go and try to reclaim these munitions from the OKW hordes. Of course, the OKW hordes have a cube wagon, and so he has to retreat a little bit. Might have to retreat right over to the building, which would be a very good thing to do right now, because it would also kind of neutralize the Storm Pioneers. Storm Pioneers should really go and grab themselves one of the buildings and then try to close distance with these conscripts. Conscripts are taking huge damage from the cube wagon, and right now they're also at medium range from the Storm Pioneers. Oh, this is going to be very, very bad. They're going to go down. Very nice pickup, but unfortunately, that was a very a reckless move from Zhukov. He really should have retreated way earlier, and oh, the Storm Pioneers managed to get into the building right before the Maxim can do so, and right now the Maxim is going to have to retreat as well. But at the same time, the Soviet player has managed to grab control of the center and the left side of the map, so he has a little bit of a map control advantage, as it may be. He's going to go with some more conscripts. Of course, he needs those as a support for the Maxim machine guns, because if the machine gun does get flanked, then he's going to need those conscripts in the flanks to support the MG and prevent the OKW forces from exploiting those breakthroughs a little bit too hard. Another big problem for Zhukov is the fact that he's lacking in capping power, because right now he has got the map control under his belt, but he may soon not have it once JRDN starts capturing points, especially once JRDN uses some of his 700, yeah, pretty much, manpower. He's going to have a little bit of a hard time actually keeping the areas of the map that he captured under his control. Just grabbing a sip of tea, and well, interesting little mine from Zhukov, and also interesting little blockhouse that he went for. 2 Maxims in one building is never really too much of a good idea. I wonder why the second Maxim isn't opening up on these guys. Oh, because 2 Maxims in the front. That's definitely going to be, I guess, chalking down the hit points of the Volksgrenadiers a little bit quicker. But I would have definitely preferred having 1 Maxim fire from one side, and there goes. The Maxim does face the other way and is going to instantly suppress these folks who are pretty much out in the open. Right now, 900 manpower for JRDN. If he had been spending manpower on some Volksgrenadiers, I think he would right now have a very good grasp over the center and the left part of the map as well. He does have one of the fuel points, but the other fuel point could have been his as well. I think he may be waiting for the Jaeger Light Infantry to spend that manpower. He's going to spam Jaegers, although that never really tends to be a good idea. mostly because the Jaegers do lack an anti-tank. So having one or two is fairly okay, but then due to their cost and due to their lack of anti-tank later on, having a lot of focus grenadiers and a lot of other units, that was a very pathetic mine. Having a lot of other units is usually superior. Oh, there goes the Cubo wagon. I think it hit a mine. Not sure. Or oh, maybe it just went into the arc of fire of the Maxim. Sustained fire. Oh yeah, right. Never mind. I thought it was something else. And then another mine, but another mediocre result again. Mines, after the nerfs, they don't really do all that much to infantry because they can only kill 2 models per mine. So per explosion, only 2 models for 35 munitions is usually not too good of a trade. I mean, the suppression effect is fine, but only if you're using the suppression effect in combination with something else. For example, if you're trying to defend your flank, if you're having a machine gun in this building and you're afraid that the enemy is going to be coming around these hail bays, you position a mine here, and then they get suppressed, and then you come up with something else and force them to retreat. Special Rifle Command out of Zhukov, that's a very, very interesting choice. I think that it's a terrible idea because he has 80 fuel. So since he has so much fuel, he could have just gone for some more late game stuff. He could have gone for the tier 3. Having a T70 out would be such a very big boon for him because right now he's facing the Scavenge Doctrine, which later does have the Ostwind. So very, very heavily focused, at least initially, on anti-infantry. So having the T70 is a fairly good idea because then you're going to have a very good way to wipe out some Jaeger light infantry. You're going to have also a nice way to hunt down the Focus Grenadiers and the Sturmpios. In general, it would just be also good because it's just a very good light vehicle. It can zip around the map really quickly. It can provide fire support for your units in various different areas of the map, and it can just be very nice. The Special Rifle Command doesn't really provide a lot. He looks like went for some Pinos with the PTRSs, which isn't really all too great of an idea because if he really wanted the AT, well, he has the Support Weapons Campanilla, so he has this free 76mm divisional field gun, which of course later on is going to be more useful against later game vehicles than of course the PTRSs are going to be. But oh well, support gun on the field for JRDN. Interesting placement of the battle group headquarters. I think that I would have gone for it here or maybe here, mostly just so it's a little bit closer to the center as well because yeah, he's a little bit focused on the right side of the map right now. He needs to send one of these units, any one of these, or maybe even just get a new unit to the left side to capture this field point. He absolutely needs to do that, at least to try, because he doesn't really know what's there. There goes the machine gun. Oh, very good satchel charge from these Penal battalions. Very, very nice. So the Penals managing to take out one of the Focus Grenadiers. That has to be followed up by a Focus Grenadier purchased by JRDN. He needs to get some more infantry on the field, get some capping power. Because, yes, while having the upgraded battle headquarters and the LEIG support gun and Jaegers, etc., yeah, finally he gets some Focus Grenadiers on the field. He absolutely needs the extra capping power, or else he's going to get overwhelmed by the Soviet infantry. And here comes a clown car. So the M3 scout car, he doesn't have flamethrowers on any of his units. He could get a flamethrower on his combat engineers, but I really don't know. We do have another truck coming in from JRDN, so it looks like the Schwer Panzer headquarters is going to be followed up fairly soon. Of course, Schwer Panzer headquarters in this area of the map, very, very dangerous because right now Zhukov doesn't really have any AT. And, ooh, yep, here comes the flamethrower on the engineers. We're going to have to retreat the MG42, but again, there's quite a lot of stuff here that can counter the clown car. There goes the Panzerfaust, along with the Sturmpioneers Panzerschreck, managing to take that unit out. Here comes some shock troops, so we do have the shock rifle frontline tactics picked by Zhukov, and that's a pretty decent doctrine pick. Of course, later on, we're going to get the IS-2 heavy tank and the KV-8 flamethrower tank. If JRDN doesn't really get a lot of AT, then that could be pretty bad. Of course, he knows that there's a special rifle command, so any vehicles are going to be delayed. And I think that that's the reason why he didn't go for a lot of AT right now. Shock troops going a little bit over-aggressive. Here comes the satchel charge, doesn't retreat the Focus Grenadiers, and there they go. Very unfortunate loss for JRDN. He absolutely needs to be keeping his infantry alive a little bit more, and he needs more. Here comes the Russia smile. That's the way Russians smile. And yeah, I see what you did there, comrade. Yes, of course. So he needs to get some more infantry to counter the Soviet horde, especially in terms of map control, because he doesn't really seem to be having problems winning engagements. He just needs to grab points and keep control of them. Maxim going to have to retreat a little bit, and because it's getting shelled by the LEIG. LEIG doesn't really have any kills so far, but it has done a lot of damage to enemy units, so it is indeed working out in the favor of JRDN. It is always a pretty decent purchase, especially when you have a kind of warfare like this, positional type of stuff. When you have two opponents just sort of butting heads against each other frontally. LEIGs are extremely powerful. Here comes a grenade assault on the blob of Soviet infantry. In fact, also combined with a huge shots coming in from the LEIG, does quite a bit of damage. And indeed, the Soviet infantry is only saved by the fact that they're in essentially no cover. Funnily enough, as always, it's always important to repeat that whenever units are in open cover, they are more vulnerable to enemy rifles, but of course they're a little bit less vulnerable to artillery because they will be more spread out. And sometimes that can save the life of your units. When the enemy uses area of effect abilities, area of effect attacks, like, of course, mortars, LEIGs, grenades, etc., etc., you may just want to have your infantry stay on the open instead of going in cover. And here comes the T-70 at 15 minutes. I think that's way too late for Zhukov to get a T-70. I would have gone for the mechanized armor Campania, aka the Tier 4, and gone now the T-34-76. Here comes the T-70. Might go to the left side to support these engineers. Engineers do plan to damage charge, and they will manage to capture the left side of the map. VP situation right now in the favor of Zhukov, of course, because JRDN hasn't really contested the left side of the map at all. Here comes a T-70. Again, as always, very, very effective against the Jaeger line infantry because they have absolutely no way to counter that. Here comes the Soviet horde against a very moderate OKW force. A bit of a grenade assault attempt will go to waste against the huge amounts of Soviet infantry in the area. At this point, if I was Zhukov, again, I would have gone for the mechanized armor Campania and tried to bring out a T-34-76. Because the T-34-76 would be very, very effective against any German vehicle that's not a Panther. And in general, because of its cost-effectiveness, Zhukov could have gone for that even with the extra fuel that he spent on the Special Rifle Command and the M3 Scout Car. And it also would have been really, really effective against infantry, just like the T-70. T-70 goes in and takes out the MG-34, which was indeed suppressing and destroying the blob of Soviet infantry, along with the support of the support gun. That's indeed what the support gun does, support everything, and it's been doing that fairly well. Oh, these shock troops are going to go down. I'm pretty sure that they're going to go down because there's these Jaegers. And can they take out... Oh, no, they're not fighting. Damn it. The Jaegers have an ability to where, just like the Pathfinders for the Americans, there goes the T-70. It might go down. There's a damaged engine. I would chase down with the Focus Grenadiers if I was JRDN. And again, I would bring in the Jaegers because the Jaegers do have the snipe ability. Whenever enemies are very low on HP, they have an accuracy bonus and they have a sort of an execute attack. Essentially, they have a sort of a chance to instantly kill any model which is under, I think, 20% HP, something like that. So these units are very, very useful when enemies are something like this, very, very low on HP and about to go down. You can finish off the models and wipe out squads quicker than the enemy can expect. Here comes a Panther from JRDN. I think that may be a little bit of an overestimation. I would have gone for an Ostwind, to be honest, because I saw the T-70, I saw the Special Rifle Command, and I saw the MGs from the Support Weapons Campania. So I know that my opponent most likely isn't even at Tier 4 yet. Most likely still at Tier 3, so the worst that could happen is a Su-76M, which would be decently countering the Ostwind from the front. But if the Ostwind can flank the Su-76, which is of course what you want to always do with tank destroyers, even if you have them outgunned, you can kill the Su-76 quite easily with the Ostwind. So I would have gone for an Ostwind because it would have also been very effective against the blob of Soviet troops. But the Panther, I get lol. Lol. I wonder what he's lolling about. Well, oh, maybe he's lolling at the map hack wagon. Where's the map hack wagon? Oh, so there is indeed a map hack wagon. Here comes a zero. Oh no, actually a 105mm howitzer barrage, which is the one that the more munitions you have, the more shells fall down. Looks like it. I'm too used to Steel Division's artillery barrages. This is very ineffective for me. If this was Steel Division, everything here would be dead. But yes, oh, here comes a very nasty grenade assault, and they have to absolute retreat. Right now, the Panther could just walk in. Looks like a little bit of damage came in from the PTRSs, and perhaps a AT grenade from the conscripts, but not enough to stop the Panther. Panther comes in, takes out the machine gun, takes out at least one of the T-70s. I would go in and take out both of them. Will he even take out one? Yep, excellent shot and maximum range for the Panther. I would just go in at this point. I would try to do my darndest to come in. Of course, maybe it would be a little bit of a reckless move. He knows that his opponent is going for mines a lot. He planted some mines on the left side, and so perhaps that dash right into the base was a little bit reckless. But still, I would go for an Ostwind right now. The Ostwind would be so good against the Soviet blob. And right now, he knows that there were two T-70s. Every T-70, it's easy to remember. T-70, 70 fuel. Absolutely easy to remember. So 140 fuel used on T-70s is essentially the Mechanized Armor Compagnie, which is, I believe, 145 or maybe 135 fuel to build. So that is a tier 4 that hasn't gone up in the Soviet base in exchange for two T-70s, one of which is dead. So, of course, kind of a wasted effort for Mr. Zhukov. And, of course, because of that, Ostwind is just such a good idea right now. It's such a rare occasion where the Ostwind can shine. I would really go for one at this point. Really good pickup with the map hack wagon. The map hack wagon, if we go to the Fog of War and click on JRDN and try to get his perspective, please. Why can I not switch? As always, being really annoying. Can I change, please? Nope. It's keeping me on Zhukov. Relic! Why? Anyway, ooh. Well, maybe this is why. Maybe this is why he's not going for an Ostwind, because he's afraid of this. Of course, he knows that there's shock troops, so he knows that the S2 is a possibility. Finally, Zhukov goes for some Zis freeze, and that's going to be very, very good against the Panther, especially with the combination of the S2. The Zis guns are going to be very, very effective against that Panther, but at the same time, I am just... oh god. Wait, PTRS cons? I'm guessing that these PTRSs were dropped by the penals. I wonder if he thinks he's tank hunters because he sees the PTRS cons. JRDN may be thinking he's up against the tank hunter doctrine, which may increase the surprise of the S2 when it comes out, and it's coming. It's coming very soon, a couple of minutes. Anyway, can I like? Oh, finally! As you can see, here comes the map hack wagon. If anything comes into this cone of vision, cone of course, map hacks, then it's going to be revealed. Of course, ooh, that's not a good idea. You should have been reversing that Panther instead of pulling it back by the brute force of the right click. Yeah, as you can see, it just spots everything. It's excellent combination with the support gun. The thing that I think JRDN really needs to be doing is pushing it up, actually. I would push it up to about here and protect it with all that I have, because then it would be able to see right up into the base. And in general, the worst thing you can do with a map hacker unit is just keep it a little bit too... well, actually, it's too wasted, but yeah, it's pretty bad. Ooh, nicely using the T-70 to capture the left side of the map and hold it from any enemy harassment moves, which is, of course, very, very useful once he had... wait, what? Oh, right, recon mode. Never mind. Of course, very, very useful, because he can also recapture with the recon mode of the T-70 once he gets to Vet 1. Of course, the T-70 is at Vet 2. Right now, the Ostwind is on the field and is going to be hunting down the T-70. T70, I don't really think stands a chance against the Ostwind normally under normal circumstances. Of course, there's 2 AT guns for Zhukov. At this point, for JRDN, sorry for that voice crack, I know how weird this sounds, but I think a support gun would be a very good decision, because now that he sees that there are 2 Zisses, and he knows there's a couple of support weapons still left from the earlier phases of the game, I would go for 1 machine gun, 1 support gun, and 1 Reckenwerfer, just to be able to take and hold territories a little bit more, especially hold territories a little bit more. It would be so very useful just to have 1 machine gun on 1 VP, and another machine gun on another VP. Oh, this is interesting. So he's going to go for the demo / mine combo. We'll see how that works, because the demo is a little bit slanted in comparison with the mine. So I don't think that it's going to be able to get some wipes. This conscript squad goes down. Very unfortunate for Zhukov. He really should be paying a little bit more attention to his conscripts, because his conscripts are his backbone of his army. I just said is like 7 times in a row. The conscripts really are the backbone of any Soviet force that is to be respected, because you really can't be using shock troops as frontliners or as harassers whenever there's like Ostwinds or things like that on the field, because they're way too expensive to reinforce. And whenever you need to bring out something like an S2, which costs a lot of manpower, you really don't want to be wasting tons of manpower reinforcing your infantry, which would be, of course, perfectly acceptable under normal circumstances. But since you're saving up a lot of manpower, maybe it would be best to keep it, of course. I would not do that if I were you, JRDN. I would only use the Panther on the flanks. Interesting usage of the camouflage. Keeps them both on hold fire, and then shoots and one of them bounces. Very unfortunate. Oh! Yeah, indeed it does not destroy the squad. Oh, I think I know why. I think I know why it exploded, because that's an incendiary grenade. I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. Is that a flank? Is that the glorious... Oh, okay, that's a cool animation. See, I thought that the guy was in like the position when people are missing their animations, right? Like the Jesus pose. So he's on a T, like a cross stance, and I thought that that was a bug. But no, it turns out he's just really, really cool. I guess Heinz is really the one the girls admire. He really needs to retreat the Maxim. Right now, Zhukov has actually been very, very aggressive on both sides of the map, and I do like the fact that he's been... Whoa! What's this zoom? Why can I zoom it so far? I think this zoom is like a little bit... Wait, is this a new feature? It feels like I'm zooming a little bit more... Feels like I'm zooming farther. Oh well, very good flank with the Ostwind. That is exactly what I wanted that Ostwind to do. Of course, I would have preferred it going around this way, around the hedgerow entirely. But it's just chasing them down mercilessly. Look at that. Absolutely nothing the AT guns can do except go into the base and reinforce. Because at this point, the Ostwind really cannot exceed the... It cannot kill the crew of the gun quicker than it can reinforce itself. So the Ostwind has to run away and avoid getting itself shot up by the AT gun. Of course, there's a bit of a problem. The other AT gun gets recrewed by the last conscript, and here comes the anti-tank grenade from the conscripts, taking out the engine of the Ostwind in the full view of this Zis-free divisional field gun. There goes the Ostwind, very unfortunate. That's exactly why you keep conscripts around, because they're just so very damn useful entirely without too many costs attached. Because, of course, Stern Pioneers are useful. Of course, Jaegers are useful, but they're expensive. For the Soviets, of course, the shock troops are useful, etc., but they're expensive. The conscripts, they're just a very nice unit all around, and they're cheap. So you'd want as many of them as possible. And at this point, the S2 is going to be coming into the field, and there's 2 AT guns still around, thanks to those conscripts, to guard the S2. Of course, even if the Ostwind had been able to escape, the 2 AT guns were still in the base, so they would have been recrewed. But if there hadn't been those conscripts, then the Ostwind would still be around to flank these AT guns once later fighting starts. And oh, this Panther is not in a good way. of course, it is the Germans, the ones with the map hacks. And right now, the map hack is where? Still standing here. I would move it up. I would really move it up. And oh shit, Hajirdian has to be seeing this. He has to run away as quickly as possible. The Panther may go down, but the S2 is standing just a little bit too far back. And right now, the S2 is definitely charging in a little bit too close. He's going to be going in, and he does not have the prioritized vehicles on, which means that his turret will be just moving about and firing at random bits of things. 105mm howitzer barrage will go down in the AT guns. Those are likely to go down. Very unfortunately, the S2 gets flanked by the Panther. So good job with that Panther keeping it alive at clutch levels. He needs to absolutely... There goes the Dushka, killing all of the Sturm Pioneers. So the Dushk actually saving the S2, but the S2 goes down from the Rakenver, for which hadn't done anything the entire game. And JRDN is quite happy about that, comrade, because of course... that is quite the big expense for the Soviets, and right now JRDN has a second Panther on the field. So this is the time. Get another Ostwind and charge in. You can literally win the game right now. He can walk the two Panthers and the Ostwind in the base, and there would be enough. The two AT guns are dead. Walk in the base. They have no way to stop your AT guns. Your tanks. Well, now they do, but oh, here comes the Panther. He needs to be a little bit more aggressive with Panthers against AT guns. Lul, he salvaged the tank. Yeah, of course, your scavenge doctrine. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Give it kisses? I don't know. Your scavenge doctrine. Salvage it. Do it. Right now, machine gun gonna go down from the support gun fire. How many kills does this thing have? 24. Very nice. Again, pair it up with a searchlight. The map hack wagon, it is indeed very, very strong. And, ooh, he's got... I just smacked my microphone. These guys really need to retreat. Right now, finally, JRDN has control of the VPs. Finally took the left side of the map. Holy shit, I was pretty pissed at that. He just didn't take the left side of the map. Okay, finally has the left side of the map under his control. Finally has the right side of the map under his control. Finally is a little bit more aggressive. No, you really should not be doing that. Okay, so there's a button, right? I cannot show it to you because there's the observer UI called U, reverse. Use it more. It's U for use. That's what you have to remember. Because, of course, you can retreat your tanks by right-clicking somewhere. But why do that when you can keep your frontal armor faced to the enemy? That's just such a better way to do things. It's more effective. It's more effective on your resources as you will not lose tanks. And of course, not losing tanks means you will have them for later. At this point, did he go for another Volksgrenadier? No, these... Oh, he got two Sturmpiles. What was that? That's a very, very interesting choice. I think that two Sturmpiles are a little bit of a... let's say overkill on Sturm Pioneers. This is interesting. That machine gun's going down, and unfortunately the machine gun is not really being microed. Right now, the two AT guns are still just being fought over. The Soviets have managed to recruit them once again. Here comes a grenade from the Stormtroopers, no, not the Stormtroopers, the shock troops, and the Volksgrenadiers, of course, having to respond in kind, make the Soviet infantry retreat headlong to the base. And here comes the second S2 heavy tank. The S2 heavy tank, the second one, let's see if it has a little bit of an easier time than the first one. The really thing with the S2 is that you need to keep it about a screen away from the enemy for it to be really safe, because its turret is very, very slow. It's very, very slow at turning, right? The turning radius is not what you'd expect. And the armor, while really good, it's one of the best armored vehicles in the game in terms of protection. It's really not the best. Well, actually, it may be the best, but still, it could get penetrated quite well, especially from something like a Panther coming at closer ranges. So, if you're coming in close, the S2 really suffers because, again, the turning radius of the turret is very, very long. And also, the reload time of the gun is very, very long. So you have these situations where the damage output of the S2 can be really ineffective. especially considering the low accuracy of its main gun. It may be shooting at something, and then it misses, and then it's too close, so the turret cannot turn fast enough to catch up to the tank that's maybe trying to drive around it. Because, again, it's too close, so it really cannot keep up, and then it misses again, and it's just inefficient at dealing damage. Whereas, if you're keeping it at long range, think about it. The S2 is in this position where it is right now, and the Panther is in this position. If it moves like 20 units like this, then the S2's turret only has to turn a very, very small amount, and it can keep up with it. But if it moves the same distance over here, then the turret really has to turn around the entirety of the length, and so it cannot keep up. And so, at long range, the turret can keep up with the enemies better, and also, because of that, can fire faster at more targets, because it doesn't have to spend quite so much time aiming. And also, yeah, it may miss a little bit longer, or a little bit more often, but at the same time, the S2's enemies aren't really going to have such an easy shot at penetrating the armor, and this is exactly what you don't want to do. Right now, the two Panthers, I'm just pausing, and I'm going to tell you what is going to happen. The two Panthers are going to flank around, get around the S2. The S2 is going to be confused as hell. It's not going to be able to turn around and fire at the Panthers. It's not going to be able to face the frontal armor. It's not going to be able to do much. And even if it does manage to turn around, it's going to get shot in the rear by something else. The two Panther files are going to be coming in. It's going to get trapped right up until the building. And essentially, it's going to get butt-fucked by the two Panthers. In fact, it's even driving further into its doom. What I would do right now, if I was Zhukov, is I would face the Panther, or the S2's frontal armor to this building, about. I would order it to reverse to this corner to get as much distance as possible between me and whatever's coming for here. Let's go and check out Zhukov's Fog of War, right? So, right now, it's even better because he sees that the two Panthers are coming. How? There we go. Yeah, okay. He sees that the two Panthers are coming because of this AT gun. Nice ambush with the AT gun, by the way. Is this one still moving? Yeah, it is still moving. Unfortunate. But yes, nice ambush for the two AT guns. I would bring in the S2. I wouldn't bring it back towards the base. I would bring it back towards this corner. Why? Because then the Panthers, to come in, have to try to keep up with the S2 as it is retreating, which of course they can do because they're Panthers and they're faster than the S2. But that means that they're going to be walking through these two AT guns, and they're also going to be walking through the conscripts. And then the S2 can get some distance in between it and the Panthers. It can also face the frontal armor towards the Panthers, and it can also, again, put itself in a position where it can defend itself. As it is right now, it faced the rear armor to the enemy, and the enemy has completely destroyed it from the rear, while staying also safe, by the way, because with the fact that the S2 was closer, the Panthers didn't even have to turn the corner and face these two anti-tank guns. Of course, the first Panther is going to go down because the anti-tank guns came to it, and also the Panther tried to retreat through a very questionable retreat path, but still. Yes, at this point, if I was JRDN, I would be very lucky that those units survived. Joseph? You mean like Joseph Stalin? I don't know. Yes, I would be just trying to push as much as possible, as hard as possible, before the enemy can get themselves a new S2. Because otherwise, things aren't going to be going all that well for him. Because, yes, he's been winning all the engagements, and right now he also has the control of the map and the VPs. But he just needs to seal the deal. He needs to make certain that he's going to win this game. Otherwise, you're just giving Zhukov more and more opportunities to come back into it. And that would not be very good now, would it? He can also get an Ostwind if he loses one squad. This is why I'm saying that these two Storm Pioneers were probably not that good of an idea, because he hasn't used any of them. One of them with Minesweepers would have been more than enough, and then with the extra pop cap, he could have gone for just a Ostwind. Base or cap? Well, looks like cap, because he's destroying your Panthers. It's really not that hard to destroy Panthers in a base, because the Panthers lack in terms of anti-infantry, And of course, you don't want to be losing such an expensive unit right in the middle of the enemy base, because you might even just lose the tank if it gets abandoned. And yeah, of course, in the base, it's pretty much the most dangerous spot for any of your units. Us twins, on the other hand, they would be pretty damn good, my friend. And is he trying to really go ahead and win by annihilation? He might be able to if he runs around the HQs with the Panthers. Pro tip: if you put your tank behind an HQ, or rather between the line of fire of the AT gun and an HQ, if you have the HQ between the tank and the AT gun's line of fire, the AT gun cannot fire at the tank because it's a shot blocker. Look at that, he's spamming AT guns. Probably a good idea, to be honest, considering what JRDN was doing. So here comes like the 7th Panther of the game. I wonder if he's going to be able to destroy that one too. But really, the VPs are going to go down soon enough for Zhukov, I think. Yeah, rip. I'm guessing that these are going to be the last little hurrahs for the Soviet forces. Oh, he still had enough fuel for another IS-2. Only the manpower investment prevented him from getting another one. In fact, he still may be able to get another one. Again, this is what happens when you don't press aggressively enough when you have the advantage. The enemy just gets multiple chances to come back into the game. Of course, I don't think Zhukov is going to be able to come back into this. He only has 12 VPs, so really anything goes for the Germans. If they just capture this VP just tiny bit, or rather the center as well, they only need like 20, 30 seconds, 16, 14, there we go. Rip. He was about to get a new IS-2 though. Very interesting. So yes, I think I already talked at length about what these two players could have done differently. So I'm just gonna sign off. I want to thank y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this Company of Heroes 2 replay cast. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you soon.